viewers, once again, good evening. We thank you for making time to stay with us. We say God richly bless you for joining the St. Paul Cathedral team for such a wonderful discussion. Today is Friday, and we always come to you with a family issues. Family issue. Like we spoke about nature of family. Now our panel, ready pepe. Inti my introduction akoso na area and after go back to your team now. It was left with you for us to finish. And we'll give the opportunity to our senior brother to finish it up with us. So without much ado, also for DYO Ewaha, so for Reverend Gideon Doji Osabote, also for Akwaba, Mama Nkwalaro, Yedenya sit. And Papa Bako and Yamia Dom Coffee by in Faswaya also the Nyagro. Say Obaso Obalive no Sanko, or buy a COVID into me and go to a car. And Yamia Domoboa, Reverend Dr. Kofi Emisa, also for Akwaba. Now, you may watch it before Fonga. Come on, here, dear. And you work global evangelism, so I had one international evangelist back up. Joseph Kibasa. Open again, say, Aquava. Now, Pomuti say, if you're so Adam. Okay, the same area, if you're an Ankasankasawaha, the very Reverend Dr. Samuel Omani Ejapon, the Superintendent Minister of the Tema Circuit, our Tempa. Yes, in fact, the Dean of the Cathedral Ankasa, or Papa Aquaba.
The first one answer, Yaka, we are member.
Dean of the Cathedral, now you have a poem with him back where and you have poem near Deba, aka Ankobia Henny. Indeed, Nanankasawa, Erase. So for where the answer, last, we started with nature of marriage. We talked about a lot. We spoke on essentials, the nature, the purposes in terms of biblical and practical. Now, during the biblical, and you made it practical. And from message say, in fact, we need to take time and go through it again. In now we are to be talking about communication in marriage. And let me first give the platform to you.
Ashafo any busuafo asorimba eradi shira mo bebre say o hwe ya bomodiana share link no ema we busuafo ndamfofo na feto WhatsApp status for link no eto WhatsApp status na o friends no most of the time o ko hwe WhatsApp status so that they can watch with us. Your best say your technical man your PowerPoint be ebeto so. I think the last thing we ended with last week was my invitation to all of us, whether married or preparing to marry, or even just thinking about marriage, to put yourself into a certain scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to the first part of verse 8. Yet I kind of I frase pa na yedi preachi. Madam Fubino can say, I frasi preaching na you preaching. Obani Beman, Omonte. And until yes, you trying to video. In no more. But maybe say 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 8. Paul Eka, Odo etise, Odo ntise, Odo tise, Odo ntise. Enti maybe say, Ugo modena udi weni eshe senia ewo screen no so no as you see on your screen na ye ya wa ha so fo so a ye wa ha so yeso ye ne mo beye edi kan ye be kan just as it is.
Exactly.
Paul and Trod say in the Bible you will see love somewhere, you will see it, but ye the love ashe bibia it will be ye the love ashe bo. Enti yebe kind together baby will be our Bible and also share the wall screen so and let's read it together. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. Love keeps no record of wrongs.
Love does not delight in evil, but love rejoices with the truth. Love always protects. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. Love always perseveres. Love never fails.
The show say can evangelist na dream call baby ade I throw me say baby efi bra ye ILI training. Now ya kind the first one the second one no you be kind slowly. First one you kind shrum me sure say be a on kaya some over. But second one, maybe say kind slowly. You be kind, but very slowly, taking notes of how many times you are meeting the word love.
Okay.
And kind. Love is patience.
This is what it is right now.
Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. Love keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but love rejoices with the truth. Love always protects. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. Love always perseveres. And love never fails. Now the third and final one. You be kind be. But no. Faudi eshe baby bia wo love. But your sign for to be. Enuntina baby a love won be in red. So that you can see. One can say afre fremiti we. Enti baby a love won. Faudi eshe.
Just you are personalizing.
Okay. Saudi now they share one exercise away in the okay. And also the outcome will be two. One. Ebe to me aba say baby a wudi wudi mbeshe bia na obeka na ye no kore. Which means you are really patient. Good. You are really kind and so on. Ebe to me aba say ebi wo ho a enye no kore. I mean ye nyina ba o mi there will be baby woman we will say wudi shewa emfa baby a wudi sha efa no na wa de urade ase na wa sire urade say ombo a na koso a say baby a wudi be sha wono emfa enye no kure say baby a wudi sha enye no kure no it's not the end of the world bompaye na sire urade so onye wadom na bo wo bra say be ya baby a wudi be sha wono e be ye no kure. Indeed, that is the exercise we are doing because it is the only way to succeed in marriage. Because ye kind way wa wari ase ye kind keke. Say odo to me ye na onyame ye odo na onyame boy ye nse ne sasodea ene na ye nso ye odo. Inti wo say bibi e wa ha no ye bi din hye ho a e wo say edu bibi wo ya bra boma say nye no kura sisi ampo a edu bibi wo ya bra boma e wo say to me ye den e ye no kura. It's a work in progress.
But so nye no kura na wo say to me ye hu bibi.
Exactly.
It simply means you are lacking.
Enti baby a wo do din hye wo nye no kura no che say wo edwuma ye. Enti ye bekoso aye edwuma. Se wo hia asofo yi nyina bi mumbo a e dia ye say edwuma na me gidi se papa ye nyina ye wo ho ye betumi abo. Enti for the last time ye mfento so na ye nkan na fa wo din hye baby a love e wo no. Let's go. Kofi is patient. Kofi is kind. Kofi does not envy. Kofi does not boast. Kofi is not proud. Pause. Is it going well? Hello? Is it going well? Okay, yet to us. Kofi does not dishonor others. Kofi is not self-seeking. Kofi is not easily angered. Kofi keeps no record of wrongs. Kofi does not delight in evil, but Kofi rejoices with the truth. Kofi always protects. Kofi always trusts. Kofi always hopes. Kofi always perseveres. Kofi never fails. Wow. Asem sebe enkranfo beka say twa maniaba.
Yeah.
Me yankran ba ko so aka.
Also, we had say, in fact, we can do self-evaluation so far as marriage is concerned. And what just did with you, you said, don't just take it lightly. Sit down and assess yourself properly, and look at what love does and what you are. Also, we started by telling us that God is love, and so man must be loved because God created us in His image. So wherever we see God, we see love, and for that matter, wherever we see man, we must also see love. So don't forget to keep this as a check or as an assessment for yourself. You can sit with your spouse, go through it, and realize, say, wherever both of you are falling, who say had you made a from tell her, who say you tell him, no will be starting to hear the day so that you assist each other in order to amend your ways. Also, God richly bless you for summarizing the nature of marriage and that the purpose is for us. And then we are moving on to something I call the pillar of marriage. That is communication in marriage. Our baby good because of communication. Our baby ye pa because of communication. Now the yaka so far now we talk about communication, but just in a passing. Today I want us to dwell much on it. In the communication generally, not necessarily marriage. Generally, what is it?
Thank you, Senior. I would say communication involves three things. I would say it involves a sender, it involves a message, and involves a recipient. Okay. So if I'm communicating to you, you have asked me a question. So I consider that as you have sent me a question. Now it contains a message. I need to decipher the message and give you a response. So I'm trying to give you a response. So what we are doing right now is communication. You've said something. I'm trying to share my mind to how I understand what you've said. So simply put, it involves a sender, a message, and a recipient. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Also for the Emisa, Edna Vetnafam, communication, Yebrana can say, basically get a message. Bring it down to marriage.
Yeah, say, ye warrior, ye be warrior. Answer na bema betumia afoba so wa no waka bibia kire. Enti already na nkasa no some communication went on.
So be majo.
And komodi
wa kan bibia kire no. Me dey kan catch say Bishop
Wasen
mo Bishop Ekukani kire ma dey.
Na wasen
pe. Say can the party na semba na e bo a ya tiri o kan yero.
Na waka kire say open.
Okay.
Emma wagia to. Into the message was mepewo. And a message if you bema no ho. And a call ban ho. And no ban so message ni say magia to. If you ban one about. But so be shempo bia se bema ni obi a odi na ni two form chair kakransa otumi bie na no e ka kire ban so open na enkomodie no bi access no message na kasa na enye akasa na ye actions. The message can be non-verbal. It's a message in also kind. And yet the idea no come one. But if you are the me and a unhu obana maminka we venture quickly. Na ye marriage seminar be University of Cape Coast. And na mami on ye be and no say. Woni obana nantia wesuso ni nsem atwitwe wani echi akyerɛ no aka kyerɛ no sɛ ne ho ɔfɛ bɛyɛ boso miansa afei ugya no hɔ na ɔka sɛ we disappoint na wo sɛ na sɛ manka sɛ mepɛ wo ɔse ɛnyɛ wano ho a wode ka sɛ mepɛ wo na ɛkyerɛ sɛ waka kyerɛ no sɛ wopɛ wo actions nea woyɛ kyerɛ no boso miansa boso minsia no mfa waka kyerɛ no dada sɛ wopɛ nti the message was already there non-verbal but wode wano na ɛyɛ den confirm it. Inti ọba ne bẹẹma okunu ne oyere yedidi ye ho nkɔmmɔ ɛwɔ kasa mu ɛwɔ nniyɛ mu ukunu ayɛ bibi ana wo yere ayɛ bibi no waka sɛ ɛkyerɛ nneɛma bebree ɔba no betumi afa no in any way bɛɛma no so betumi afa no in any way sometimes kura one wembie wano kura etumi kyerɛ bi nti ɛkwan a yɛfa so a yenya entiaseɛ ɛwɔ yasetene mu te sɛ nea wode ato ha ma yɛ no meaning we transmit meaning nneɛma a woyɛ nneɛma a woka a ɛma wo kunu anaa wo yere onya entiaseɛ bi ɛwɔ wo ne n'asetene mu no ɛno ne awareɛ mu nkɔmmɔdie communication in marriage.
That's it. Yo, international. Fabi so subai uya na eva pa kasampo.
Ọbẹ̀ẹ́mẹ̀ bi a na ọ̀pọ̀ ọbaa bi na ntumi mwie na renka.
Sáfọ̀ ẹ̀ ń fọ́ mu sẹ́yìn. Píodo ọmọ náà yẹ tẹ́ka sọ́dọ̀ nánú mọ́ ọyún náà. Okay.
Na ọbaa yẹn hù sẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ma yẹ ọ̀pẹ̀ ni. Nti ọ̀nso ntumi nka ọ̀nẹ́ náà nàntí ọ̀nẹ́ bọ̀ nkọ̀mọ́ na ọ̀tọ́ ẹ̀nìyẹ́mà de kyẹ́ no. Yẹ dako ọbẹ̀ẹ́ma yẹn invite ọbaa wọ̀ ne fi. Ó kọ́ ẹ̀ ọ̀tẹ̀tẹ̀ ní ne fine. Wọ́n ká hwẹ̀ tí ọbaa no sọ̀rọ̀ ọkọ̀ okay. Oh yeah, Mr. Say Matthew 7:7. Ọba no kan kyerɛ bɛrima no Matthew 7:7. Na opie kɔ ɛ. Na bɛrima so Matthew 7:7 onu di hɔ. Nti ekyi na ɔkɔ ɔkɔhwɛ Bible. Ɔse ask and shall be given. Seek and you will find.
Knock. Mama gay koi. Mama
gay is ko. Matthew 7:7.
That's it. Da. Awari bunkomo. Da boy nkomo.
Me just say nia epanifo adi ka ya no nka wo hwa akọ maka ne nyina ewe but say ya ka communication in marriage, it is not just what you say. It is not just what you do. But it is the way you say it and the way it is received. Enti ubohu say obi aka sembi anka on its face value would communicate asem no ka ne ade no ye no to krata so a hodman ka boni bia nim but the way it was said ebetumi ama aye papa anase aye boni enti na ohwemu dia na kire senka communication no enye tra se de ye ka no anka ebetumi mpo anka se ye hyeda ekohu school nye kokosua senia ubetumi a communicate ubetumi akasem ubetumi de ade ama obu efisa tie ne ye ti say ye asantefo wo de benkumu ema opani ade a enye onidie enye obuo it's communication ukwa brochira it doesn't matter omo de fa no watra aha and you who say yeah and you all say communication and kasakra so no e contextual
exactly
asa wutumi e di si ba bia wo hu ne se be kan se ya abrochire enye oba de ne kora se oba ka kire oba ma se manager ho me pe o
da saden kwaye nwa because obe metumi make choice say Martin me pe we na no oba do tumi hwe mmemme mo kasa me so me pe we a e say ebone because
contextual o contextual acha ye culture ya mamre no emma ho kwan sa okay is a bra oba be na no aka no immediately it goes through the brain the body and it is interpreted in context. Ọbaa wabie n'ano aka kyerɛ ɔbɛrima no ɛnna na ne suban nie.
No, you're cheap.
Nah.
Say, you can, oh, then you just, oh, you are family.
And you know, the other kind of communication, you hear, papa. Now, essence say, you know, say, you know, say, be one, and answer when you will be a cassa. Essence say verbal and non verbal, you know. So, only the Panama, there's all show Nantie was sitting at Wakasa, anyway, yeah, our de Cassachre will be no. And so, really,
you be away. That one say, oh, yes, Anthony. Into Kaya Biano, no man. Miko baby, I'll carry a beer with the atom. A serious insult, your book will be a trans in 24 trans. Now, so just because what catch will be such a year. But Oba Santimemo, Obako, Memo, Achim Memo, when you say Kenny, I say, and yes, what in attempt, but just describing the way. But Omono, it goes down to say, Nipana Okon, Unyo Biawa, Mobra, those kind of stuff. Ain't my problem. Now, I keep on saying, say, Bibi Sano, also for Sadiano, does it affect marriages? The language barrier. We are talking of communication, and communication is more of a language. One say, when you come to, everyone say, the example Papa just gave, you will, okay, something like J in Akana is normal. Oka sum, it's normal. But there is a tribe, when you use the word sum, it means something different. So much as a wolf or poor onji. But in the same sumun, which means J, you go to other tribes who sum, they just say because sum simply means J for them. But Oba Asante Achim Ko Nakachu be said sum. Nine. So that barrier also for a boa aware and a haware, and if it does worry marriages, how? Vis-a-vis, you're trying to do communication is the brain of all marriages. It's a link into that for me.
You know, kind of, it's both ways. I mean, they all apply. You see, sometimes, most of the time, the words you say and the tonation to which it comes with. Papa says something like, okay, baby, you said something. The way I'll transcribe what you said will mean different thing altogether. But meanwhile, you have a clear conscience. I mean, the tonation, the words you use may be offensive to me. That's why I believe that before people can come together to get married, I mean, you need to know yourself for some time. You have to be friends for some time. It is not, logical. But you need to be friends for some time, for the person to know you, to know the way you talk, the words you use, the tone you use. So that when you get married, you know me a little bit, you not get much offended, you not be much surprised. So when you're friends for a long time, realize that I can really cope with this person. I'm compatible with this person. Then you can move further to the next step, and then the next step, then you can get married. But most of us get into marriage because we've seen the Coca-Cola shape of the partner, and then our lust is just pushing us, drawing closer to the person. But I believe that if you have been friends for a long time, you know the way the body speaks to you, the way he throws the hands, the words he uses, the tonation that he picks up, or when he's talking to you, then you are informed that this is the kind of person I'm marrying. When he says this, doesn't mean an insult to me. When he moves his fingers, it means that they show a program on television, they've stopped the program. It takes two.
Yeah,
It takes two. I'm struggling to. It takes two. If you are compatible enough and you are a couple, when your husband moves his fingers, you know what he means. When he moves, he blinks, you know what he means because you have communicated for a long time. You know every gesture the partner makes and you understand it, can transcribe it very well. So right now, if I don't know you very well and make certain statements, because I don't know you, I don't know where you come from, your background, I may be offended. But meanwhile, you have a clear mind. So before you can come together as a couple, I will encourage that you become friends for some time. Know the person very well and ask him, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And then when explanation is given, you can understand yourself when you come and say for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer.
Also for Emisa, there is also a saying that communication is vital for intimate relationship. Now, so we share the concerning language barrier. we can we were her, it means different thing in another way. Say, and now we are talking about marriage that needs to be very intimate. Now, going a little beyond the marriage itself, one say, Papa can say, you study the person, you know the person, whatever she or he does, you know the meaning. Now you go to your parents, and the first day she talks, they mention she lost accuracy about with the environment fear. And then you saw the pain. Meanwhile, you understand, they don't. So far as marriage is intimate relationship, what must one do? So far as communication is concerned, wife and family, what must one do?
I come for the warrior.
Exactly.
And I would first say, Mummy and we adults. We've had very many difficulties of situations. Obema di oba kofi, and oba di bema kofi. Na ibusuan for say, bibi oba ni and bibi obema ni yeti. Yeah. It's quite difficult, especially se mummy and numoti mwase na mu pese mu warrior. I have had different opinions from senior colleagues. Obi say me say me ye Ghana nipa de me ntu obi afo say wo de wo partner ekofi na we busuafo so mo mpe na chenchen aware no ebinum so say o mo ye adults inti who make the decision. I tend to go by the second opinion, but niaya make and say sometimes you need to give your parents time. Also bre na mo ankasa so munya bre na mo tete mo families ase ebetumi aba say initially omo beka so omo mpe, but say mo to mo go na mo de nchirechire mu na mo de enkoto sere na mo tumi prove otherwise. To say near first impression of munya ye no mo ma mo bre na mo tumi prove otherwise it can work. But I only say ye ma menum de ye papa no no e wo mo generation no so and away yes ye generation and we maybe wo wa ye ne sa play ya omo bre no no mo nya ne sa bre no na wo de I like to say it this way, but say yes and ye pa mo fenche sa bre na wo de wo mpna kofi a unso ne nsem fa unsa ntu ni sisi. And namely, what didn't make now in the Shatari Crow. Ain't it? On what drink crass, and Mummy and Mube P. if you want to Mushatari back.
Communication has already taken place. The best I catch you, and Tarana share a catch you.
But be an yesu and Tessa. It will say you to me take your wolf once and I get back on the level. Because the intimate relationship that or bani or bema or as much as that is important, Shana won't say or ban on any mammy and papa bondi and soba. Bema no so any papa and mammy are bondi and sanoba. Yaw bema dear, say one to name party senia, ne mammy to nimpa. And I 1 year ne ga comic and kenna Tisenia ne mammy ye no. You are in trouble. You are in trouble. But you say we have been brought up from different cultures. We have bonded with our family differently. In fact, me wo colleague bia wabeti ni punase sisia when she had the opportunity to live with the family for 2 continuous weeks. Because no say I didn't make no pema because ye di nkomo a me ka asem a me kasa tenten ne waka asem ba ko me kasa tenten ne waka yo mate I am po asa
nkomo no on fa bi mba on kasa ya no so tiro
na okot na fie ho na wotwe mienu ene hu se o sa na mo nyina ate enti afi en hade biem ena obon bodin say obechire ni kunu say they say idin komo enti we need to understand where we are coming from, and we need to do that by also learning from the background that Nipano if
you viewers here that we are still on marriage communication so uche eduma wari mun sem do na nigina nkomodi so enu aso ne gusu a yenya abenofo perifo a Omokasa yem papa Mr. Kasa. Evangelist, maybe same. Must we educate our parents when we want to bring our partners home?
It depends.
Well, maybe that way because young funny say, Makofa be a fantini, me a be a santini. Kase be one kase mua, or can it means different. Minim tribe organ how kasu be your trophy, just say oye sanseni. And a minim tribe is so how kase kushinia, as the DD agro, and the same kushinino, wakana santimemune, and how can a camemo. And must we educate our parents before we introduce our partners?
Sinner, so forget your conscience. First, we are saying interest. We are one area. We are fancy. We are then school some. We fi campus, go school. Come on, say we qua. Now, obviously, na Ghana for them. That's so. Ya mamre ni eyeba. Inti no ede na wa wofo no onhia nkranida. Inti nkrani bi suba bi obekire no onti ase. Saa so na we awofo no enkrafo onhia afanti na santi. Inti eno susu awu. Inti enyine bi wo ho a wo mode ede tu. Me kai say abra me council me kan say bi kire awarefo bi. Omo ware fine. But Pepsodent egu aware. Papa no ne fie no say Pepsodent say ye mia fie me.
No, a handful of me free true. Let's go for me free. Also, Mia is not better.
Oba no ko mia finfi. Be ma say there be Pepsodent ye mia fie. Where ye egu aware. Another one. Bema no papa no ye ma pieces ye toilet roll. Inti on toilet roll them say back on there within a short hour down.
Yes, sir.
Asa. Bema no say there be oba no say oh how's that toilet roll? Oti no boom. Ono ni fee say na we so ni fee a different thing. Inti Pepsodent egu aware. Toilet roll. And now, it's a nema in the sometimes say, well, what if your background? Let's say, our phone with your own shade in there. Maybe I would mean no demon come out, can say. But I don't say, be any munti. Let's have one coin, maybe 8. Or any amount. And for the facts, what's the first say, yeah, here. Say, who bear mana, who worry. Say, we say, what can say rough actually be there? You better fair. Over to your own son and you and son, I want to say, but since in that, you're quitting, then we were up to that, there was some parents you are. Say, we are fancy, over worry, because you're so for back to be no, they would be. I do it, Bassa, why I'm a dancer of there, and never worry. Even answer with the fancy, not worrying. The case near worrying, or else what thing. Tell me, says to them, come on, to say, I'm not going to.
Who can stand out quite any babies? I say, you have a power to agree. It's almost more than 20, getting 30 years plus. You know, the communication and Tiasiana Emma between work and Obano and I only Beman and between me and parents. And then I'm the education. About what mass
education, say it, and once here. Good. You won't come out in the hour.
They'll say, do yes, it may be a, or share say, or steady pattern anyway. No one say, be a, line, or what to say, a yes or no, our forbidden come. Say, be a man, all ban, couldn't say no more, and to whom be say, and money, how, then you explain further.
Internal and to Wasia, Obinia, the watch it. But say, Diana, about open internet, woman, can't say no, okay? Now, figure, even though communication is your, but I am a communication, you communicate the good ones, even the bad ones of company, who to be dead, and no, a back as a backwa, my name, there.
Based on the, in fact, yeah, can say we're talking about massive verbal, non-verbal. Another topic full, yeah, beba. Now, and then per se, 1990 communication now only your cultural setting, yeah, the way I casa. And then we call the types. So we are looking at the way, the style, in the diet, also kind, the tonation, how you speak. Obeka said, "Be a quasia, on best three, Obisubeka quasia, but the tonation, the pitch, and in same baby. And then, and on a say, you share who as American that. Now you can't educate your family on only papa so worrying. Don't you think say your family be fan something different? Say, now I could do the money about them be one yet. And on which I see every come back, I said, oh, my Bible, but to near Massey, and so the Obana, but the Obana, no idea, and you cry to me, Cassidy, ye, and ye. But if be another, on only say, Beman him say, Nima Bill saying, you know, on their culture, or parts, you know, is normal. Uko family be a chia, you do a, you could so near chill be a fefe. In say be a Beman family sanity, where's your family? Hey, hi, you do, oh, man, that, what is saying? Which opinion, I let me say, what is saying? And suddenly, my back was so made in a bar no sign near mano. Only me, papa. I didn't burn a baby with him. Naso bar saying our begin after.
Yeah, there are two things that we need to take note of.
Okay.
Culturally, Akola and Tupenefo.
Exactly.
And to even think, say, oh, quite educate your parents, you know. It's a non-starter.
Good. You see, you have 2 schools of thought too. Oh, Kasa on modernity. Yes, or Kasa. Now, dance will call our cultural setting into a city in that part of your course.
And so, some say, as I say, we educate your parents are a yes and no. Oh, I didn't teach you and a year say, oh, person or warrior, a bush of food to make us say no. If you say a jar and a waterman a bar, and yen a banner copper or barber catcher say, war no mammy. And the reason why a jar and a waterman a banner say, or not as a or bar papa, ne babby to me our no. And until Nanka culturally crown, parents will not agree to co from another culture. We know what it is to do what. So that now can even to say Obi Okuhini sort of idea no. The culture bit here a different you know, let us play home.
And one maniama.
And tis a cobane say what the person call worry na and yet it's important to tell your parents that many the person say they can be settled that makes last year. Oh, okay, it's good. And you say, you never to Nyapa or Papa Nama. That is the normal thing. Opening, Papa Becatcher, you never to form, and then you come and say, Mahunu will be that. What do you?
That was a cultural setting.
That's right.
And Nano, and some case menino. No, so that not a very free feels. Oh, charming cover. Okay. And that would be one can say be a brand to be ambassador or Chambabachia. And I forgot besides say, menini message, blah blah blah. Or the neighbor Bachia. Now I shall not confirm. And also, I went after bad suffer. What was it? I'll still go to super. I'm not for some time and some about. In the moment you say no, if you know when you be brave that time. And I am adding.
Yeah.
But Mumpen for the no, they can be a simple mamma.
Very, very simple.
I didn't.
No, the dear man, a yet simple, they say, no chronic higher back. Yen the feather for home.
Okay.
If you say only pana would in a banner, ye nino, ye nimina chiri, ye nimina subai. And you know, I need to say ye defer no, because he said, Oboko Winti, Akopiasi and son, like I said, David. I see it me and at the back extra war. Let me quickly come in, and this is where I like to use myself as an example. If you say, me, no me disofo, no me worry. It is just a me am a timawase, menini. But me say some years back, na me papa ni me di nkomo bi asie ama mahunu say basa me kwaware a there are certain cultures he is not happy say me kwaware afrem wa settle no wa kai no ato dada was it
na also for sunya similar problem and bisaba
enkwaware wa ha
like that be bo usunya similar when you bo and e come say mu say majority na wa ha no e tribes na di kan ka kire omo no e nwanwa o ho anso kra na so nyina ko ware bi ba okay
oh say ubafia that's how they put it say ubafia warrior ubafia no wa ka to no mo sa ya juma we were pray after in our school ya be Christopher until yen perception as a sakakra. But we need also Bible say yen fa need dey my for. So we need to now try to gamble between then I find somebody and I want to get married to that person. Fortunately for me, tribes I mean papa say nkamang ware wo hwan ko be happy no still we make it open say wan ware free han kamani beje on shedan ka tete ko ware wa hawo. Fortunately man ko hono ba bia na say oba na free ho ba bia but say na ye wo open close kakra so wo hono afei me di ko ka kira me papa say me ware asumese o say oh Kofi we dey other the hot person over other the hot person over crow na me say well papa me gidi pa say woni me di nkomo bi ka kira me say sankrofo we ka wo mpe fortunately sa woni pa ya me ne bae on free sankrofo no mu bia etino to start with at least I've met you a certain way. That's the first thing. The second thing is obe catch okay say bra woni me di sankomo me catch her will say my Christo ni na say me be ware a me bom paye na de nyankopon de be ma me no or somebody you will like and me bom paye na ho na ware de ma me enti I find it a little difficult. Then he comes back to tell me say oh say you tell me kasa na say minim asumasi okọ ware sankrofo ni bi anyeye and he is able to count on his fingers all the people who went there and it didn't work. Fortunately, 2 of them were even from my family. 2 of them, the auditor in Sassuano. And I make catch them and say, okay, and this is where the education comes in. But it should be in a very subtle way. Because still your papa or your penny.
Exactly.
Now may draw attention and say, wouldn't him say, may you suffer? Now may you suffer on Suntino. Me bom paye de nyame de be ma me no me nyi nyankopon achinye na I want to believe say de nyame de ma me so or ya de say me papa so energy ho in any case esa say me fo pulpit me ka kire ko so mo fa ni die ma obawofo nti no so so won pene so a I will not be able to say I will stand against it, but the first principle is say me ni nyankopon obo ebedi ho nkomo na esa say me bom paye de nyankopon de ma me na ma dwene je me say if ma ko say nyankopon de ma me nti no. So also one place I know we are doing, but I have to go back to God and pray to God for Him to convince me. Say I made a mistake. The second say, "Onyankopon kasa kyerɛ me and disprove the mekano and yet not me so and yet I don't between the 2 of us don't call me and ask me when I'm going to get married because sister Onyankopon be convince na masaba wo nkyɛn." It was a mutual conversation. I just said. So you see, at that level, I need the BS. I don't want to take this one now. And you who say, I didn't just this is part 2. And I need the answer, me papa no, me the amano. But Mamma who say in society, no, me was certain standard, the beginning near there, Miss Makuma Dahua. They say me suma run no me papa no me no na me one side and na me papa one side it is sanity there who count the material it let me go now and do my second consultation it at that level now I am educating my father to appreciate the fact that nya ba ko for and a bit kasa but he should open the floor for other conversations to also progress. So me call here, and then he goes behind me and shares what I have done with my senior sisters. Okay, so my senior sisters, but I'll draw my attention to Grofua or my Kosa area and Anya. Then I brought in this question, said, what you can name? I know you are them. But don't you think, say, we may come out of one success story. We need to have a success story. I don't know my acquaintance, young Cornelia, you bet me at any things round and now. So the bear, see a kind negative, at least you've been one position to go feed upon your quiet dear. And then he looks at me. Then he's not able to be quiet. When my sisters go to home come up, and my sister says, you know, Kofi, you know that he prays on what side you home come up. Why don't you allow him? Because on our catcher also say until say he comes back, don't ask him no. And then after 2 months, my sister comes and says, "If I pass over, so."
We say 2 months in now, it's a silence mood.
Yes.
Who are on casa? Papa soon to be friend.
Oh, to be friend. Then also he had a consultation behind. So he comes, my sister comes and says, "Papa said you're okay, for about a brother."
Wow.
So you see that if you're not very careful, you can be confrontational, and it can spoil a lot of things. Fast forward, bra me kwaya kwala no ho ade no, me papa na ese o me ko wanko. Still he's not satisfied. Nje o mani nua e de gina nam ko ye wedding wa ma. In fact, he even made a statement say, "Ska o de baba support wedding no, o de be hwe ni nua ba so owu a, o de be kwa kosie ni nua ba." Then it goes on to a point.
Was he a Christian?
No, he wasn't. Now it goes on to a point that one day he comes to my wife and tell my wife in the face, "I saw, let me know, let me WhatsApp." Yes. So me, I know where he is coming from, and my wife also. But according to my wife, which that one too, she told me, before my father died, one day my father went to her, knelt down, and said that I'm sorry. She said, and he had no reason why to open. But along the line, my wife had presented a certain frame here, a disabuse na mind about every negative thing that he had about her, to the point that now she had to open up, come and confess and say, "I'm sorry." And he did that. Me, I here between or no. I said, it's what we say. You need to be very diplomatic
in
speaking, in acting, and in doing everything that you want to do. Because one here, you will take a position in this modern culture. After all, me so for. Me ko full popita penny for party men no abekasa kire wo na wo take twotwofo ha na wo ka kire say oh please. So you need to be able to be very diplomatic. Oh, you Christian, just a bompire pa, mampire so and all those type of things. Marriage, when it comes to communication, the dynamics not dozen. And you need wisdom from above to be able to navigate that.
Communication, we've not even entered into the marriage itself communication.
No.
We are about the communication that surrounds the marriage itself. And no one said, so for us, a youth representative, and with what Papa said, don't you think, say we would take stand as youth, for that matter, if the father is not careful, he ain't your baby. And we can do what we call marriage by elopement. And normally people change churches. Baby, I know I'm sorry. And let me give you a scenario. Or hire people to act as parents. Or hire people to act. It was later, fortunately for us, it was during the counseling session. And as APA. So looking at that, anema is in there. Any papa say more okay. Who says say you to be they will take stand or go by married by elopement. That is, they will travel somewhere, go and marry.
So it has been happening. It has been the young people. Most of them are a little bit stubborn. They think that the elderly don't know anything, and this is the modern we are in the modern contest. But what Papa have said should be an advice to all young person that is listening, anyone that is listening to this kind of program. You have your way. You are in a modern contest, but then you need to use wisdom. That when you go into marriage and go and hit, you come back to your family and tell them this is what has happened. Now, as his papa said, you need to tell them in a respectable way. If they disagree, they may not disagree to the end. Papa also said something. I mean, in a nice way, you're educating them, but then you don't force your way on them, your will on them. No, not direct.
Indirectly.
You take your time and lure them small. They will understand you.
Exactly.
Because our early have a perception, they have an idea because they are very old. They know where they are coming from. They know what they are telling you.
Also, we think they are primitive.
Yeah, we think they are primitive. But trust me, if you listen to wisdom they have and you lure them small, and you try to please them small, they'll get to understand where you're coming from. But if you force your will on them, then they'll wash their hands on you and allow you to go. And when that happens, you are in a very big dilemma. You're going to face trouble to the end of your life. So I believe strongly that once that happens, let's begin to listen to our parents. And trust me, this modern day parents or our early, they are doing so well. So you realize that sometimes you take a partner to your parents and they don't accept it. But they don't show. Most of them don't show. They'll say, That means there's something wrong. So if you're a wise child, you take your time and try to get to understand what does Papa mean by And when you get to understand, you try to correct and prove him wrong through the relationship you are going through. And trust me, things will work. But our early people, our fathers are doing so well. If they will force their will on us, most of us will not get married.
Yeah.
Most of us, they are doing so well.
So does it mean that our tool, because majority don't even know that communication is a tool, our tool are not well mastered or skilled in order to use it in terms of luring your parents to understand where you are coming from and you understanding where they are coming from?
I will pick it from pride. I mean, most of our young people are filled with pride because he has attained a particular level the parents have not. They think his understanding is much deeper than the parents. But trust me, the kind of knowledge he has, you don't have. You may have your degrees, but what he has, you have no knowledge about it. You have no knowledge about it at all. A little money they have, a little education they have, when their parents talk and their parents say one, they'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. When you say 1, 2, 3, they say 1 up to Z, and then you make your parents quiet. Now they'll say they won't talk about your matter again. You are in a very big trouble. So you have to take your time. No matter how rich you have become, no matter how many degrees you have acquired, no matter the status you have, just take your time and listen and reason up. Wesley quadrilateral. Reason up with them and let them tell you the reason why they are behaving the way they are behaving. They will tell you, and then gradually you try to prove them wrong through your friendship with a partner. This is what I would say, Papa.
One issue I have Sisi. I have Fridays about a year program and Rana Society. And the lawyers who come, almost the two just say, after all, this time say, if you are above 18, you don't need the consent of your parents to marry. And I see this to be dangerous.
But that one is law. And it's the truth. Yeah, Brand say, conform me, Richard, some worry. Not even you, the minister, see something wrong, and you try to prompt them, and they tell you, say, oh, if you see that, my council confer, we had a big problem with things, say, they need not to marry. So I sent them to my house of many. He came in, we sat with them. We first sought for their consent, say, you perceive Shiam, and they agreed. And they still insisted. And they are doctors, because that thing needs doctors' counsel. And when the doctors came, they still insisted. So my super ended by saying, Emrane say, if you are above 18, you can marry. So quickly, we consulted the parents. They married. And since the see problem, we are, even though we perceived, say, Saudi and because we saw traces of it up to now in CBBI. It has taken more than 3-4 years.
But how many sources say, if you are
but I'm personally a better because we are to way is more of law in the way of contracting the marriage. But we are talking about communication to the way no you want to way that for lawyers and the can want them.
Niana me person meeting who kakrane bra muka say your dream say your parents primitive. I have a saying that I say maybe it may be a general saying.
Okay.
Say emofra edwin there mpeyimfu nyim yansa na mmom mpanyimfo nyim dɛ mmɔfra nyim nyansa. You see the difference?
No,
Yes.
I see
You know what
the
dread
difference.
there?
Mmɔfra what dream there?
But these people also know.
Mpanyimfo wɔ nyim dɛ
That's right.
mmɔfra nyim nyansa.
Okay.
Enti what you think you perceive of your parents, what they are saying or exhibiting, they know.
By yours is
Yours is
perception.
What do you say? Daddy ni mami pa omu ni makosuya ntia.
Well, boy, Kulu, why is it?
Omu ni how sweet akosuya is ah. Enka omu nkani omu kano. No, omu into what Jane say omu ni. What Jane say omu ni miyanza, but they know that you don't know where you are going.
Wow.
Enti
Wow.
ye ma ye ho kwan. Whatever we perceive of our parents, let us try to know.
Exactly.
Let us try to get close. Me son, yes, from my teenage years. Na me won namfo ma bebre. Na de ba kwa na me taye ne se na me de me namfo ma ko fi pa. Enti I could get a lot of comments about whoever I bring home, and that actually helped me.
Good.
Enti me ye ma dream se me ware no. Na me nim nia me de ko fi a.
Into the oil now, or just testing the waters. First also, Papa Kasana pay they are very.
That was where I was coming to say.
Okay.
Especially do you say, oh, if you are your parents, you know, one from I go university, I went to know. The first say, oh, the banyan someone, a young son will kind of Oba, Mrs. Cochre, parents. See, even though in your background, the promotica, they might be praised, but romance, no way. To boss, I'm my from a faso. My penibia, on only a 5 bar or a sudo. So we share the first society steward of this church, even AY auntie.
You were an evangelist, a bad banner and parts. I did with the being part 2 of the issues community surround because maybe I walk on Papa the candy aqua at least in Yaka. We need your experience. Then we am I have a chum crab about 10 minutes. And you know. The Beshana, yet we actually free him. Timo Renfi. I mean, I'm next week, your bar. The Beshana is me at the with that. Indeed, Papa, Abra Jamaya Papa, na where we be a mind. Yes, sir, communication is essential skill to master. In Chino, yet how do we master communication? We are which right.
When we talk about mastering communication, but all that it means is we learn. Bibia ni hono mu a wo pese wo ye a wo betumi asore preko pa na wa yama na ye ye gise wo sua abrabom bibia yesua se de ye didie yesua se de ye nante yesua se de ye kia it is a wo pese wo sua anase wo pese wo kasa na communication ye effective a learn wonen panimfo nante trampanimfo na ase listen more than you talk yesa wo besua bia free enwomam but esonwoma mu nyansa and esno efie so nyansa enti bomode se obeye na mpem bebre no ya hunu se yesua free wo mu a adi animo no experience enti no bra wo ne manfo nam na wo hwe na wo pese kwan a wo fa so no na wo hwe se krofo edi kan bisa questions na ne nyina tumi bua wo ma wo hunu se do time asa me so me present ya okwan be ya fa so present here. So if you are talking about communication must be mastered, it means that you must be willing to learn. Don't ever think, say, you know everything in life. Because it's the little things, the Bible says, the little foxes, they destroy the vine. Yeah, what do you say, Unimon? Ebiana Winim, the more Quanya, who fast, who are different from what it really is perception and reality.
Your viewers, we thank you very much. Continue putting your comments, they will answer them for you. But for today, our time is up, and we like us. Now is where the AKA works. The Ankobia Hene. This is where it works. In Papa, where the Ankobia Hene bedroom there, it is always attached to something. Until we are not, we say, what would do Ankobia Hene? We are we say, you
say, open only Shaykrano or me ba hatche.
Now send the animal by Cano.
Say the Yana Omukano, say, opening if you go one back. But I am a bar, no more hatche. It, you know, by virtue of his long stay, a man experience. baby a openi te form ohunu koduro no we abofra na so fru dua tente korampo a ohunu ho no moda that is experience a wono woni nti no ama waye penny nti yada mo ase me gimedi se yembuta ne se yebemma mo suahunu ni nimudie e wo niema bi a yen penimfo ye famu a ebia monimo, and that's the reason for this discussion. Yada penimfo omba ya nase se ye nase ye ne mo kasa sei na se bibi wo ho a monti ase a monfa to krata so na mmehu. Now, we always look at your questions. And next Friday, and you decide, my dear bro, Yami Adman, next question, now what PSN, you best have a Monchampion. But whilst we are planning to come your way, we also need to take care of our church. We need to be able to service our utility bills, pay our staff, and other things. Now, what the idea is, no being free baby, my man, just a one casanti, it is a appeal to you. Say more than say more than other support to us financially. Your tithes, your offerings, and your assessments towards our harvest. Now you say, bra wo ye e dia bo nyame adwuma no. Nyame so be hwe wo de, ama wo so de ayeye. Until we come your way next week no. Mo ye nyina nsi entrase na ye mo mpa ye na Nyankopon ase. Na ye ntu ye ho hye ne sase be ya na watu ya ye famu en. So we are grateful to you, our Lord and our Master. I have always held the perception that apart from Jesus Christ, who is the way and who will take us to heaven, marriage can take somebody to heaven or to hell. Entina amaya semre abeshia hanma yedin komo etise ye. Yempa ye ne se ya kan bibia ebia ne wo penhia ya na wa yi ato nchen. Nemom suahu na wo de amaye e wo ofrekase ade afre mane ye kan ye maye a ye no mo kase entie ye giri se wotia a ebe ye moa e de amawo ye firi hana se ye koye fia fa ye kodu asomdwe mu koso amaye hunumu ni nimde koso akasa kire ye esan se wonam nipa so na wosi wasore nti bebia wo kire asuafo no na wo mkoto da wanya sika de be ye abrabomu adwuma no o man so so a we hira wo mo kan akoma no mo so nyi bi fa mo wasafo so de be ya adwumadi a wo de ahye ye nsase ye die no ye betumi adi akosi awie ye na anu dwoada wo ne ye be kasa e na anu ukuada so wo ne ye be kasa e nefia da so wo ne ya kasa koso aka ye ho na bo aye so de be ya na mo bi a ye betuo no ye betu di ahye wo Nyankopɔn de kokwa no onyam na ne nyina awie yi a ye pese ye pie wo wanim na wo ka kire ye se mo akwapa no kwafo afuna pa no kwafo na ye no sa wi a ebe ye nhira de ama Awurade nhira no nhwe so Awurade tire no nhira no no mo Awurade ma na ni so wo so na ma wutirimu po o ma okoma ba bisade o ma wo nsa no adwuma enye yie ama watumi anya bi de abeboa wo na adwuma wo fie ha no mo e de ahye odi no ma se yan kohwe na problem bi wo fie a anwumre ye bom pa se Awurade on ka wo ho ye bom pa se eye yade kodiawu a abekanta ye ho a eti ye hu se ye ko begu na se defend Awurade ma wo ni wabusua ho ban se de bia ebi nka wo ni wabusuafo nyina na kosibra ye nyina besa ba hia bi o no onyame onfa wo nsiye oma wakoma mo bisade mram nyame agya nyame oba nyame adum ne susu krokodim nti ne ye bosa mpa ye Awurade nhira da amen. Thank you for staying on with us. Esa said the bia me wo hono mo na se wo ba betumi wo fie na wo de wo tate ba ma gienti ntina ama ya to me anko bia hene no me nko ba bia me wo fie a me twen wo enti bra if se bi no di kan na me so me twen wo aya anko ba bia enti tan bia wo ba na obi ani ho wo ba beto me na ma wo de wo tate no offering dia benya me nhira bebrebe amen. That's how
me Jesus mon me nimte me Señor Monti me chai